now joining us, we have Dan Meyer from the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce, and we are going to be talking with him about one of my favorite topics today, organization. It is spring. It's time to spring clean your office, get things organized, right?
It's always a time to be organized. But we all doing that. We're doing spring cleaning around the house. We're trying to declutter. And that's really the very first one I have on the list here is purge your office.
Yes.
It's interesting. Have you ever watched the Hoarders program?
Love it.
Have you ever walked into a business office that looked like whoever was running that business was a hoarder? You know, they don't get rid of anything. And it just stacks on top, and you wonder, they know exactly where things are, but that doesn't mean it's organized.
Right.
Just because they know, I think it's in that pile right there. You know, we tend to think everything is important and everything's not important. There are times to get rid of some things and decide what to keep and what not to keep. Another thing you can do while you're organizing, while you're purging, is get rid of some of the old electronics that you've just, you've upgraded, updated, something's not working quite right, and so you bought another one and this one's still sitting there and someday you're going to fix it. No, you're not. Just get rid of it. Find a place that can use it, will fix it, give it away, whatever. Oh my goodness. What's the Goodwill? Goodwill has a recycling program for computers that they send them down to one of their locations and they take things apart. They use what's usable, rebuild, and it's a training opportunity for folks for job training. So if you've got old computers, things like that, get them over there to Goodwill. Donate things. There's Rams Rack, there's Hebron Colony, there's different places that would be delighted to take some of your things, because there is a buyer out there somewhere, but you're not in the business of selling your stuff. So let them do it and give it away. Donate anything you can't use. So purge your office. Second, organize your paper files. You know, I'm one of those that's guilty of this. I get a piece of paper and I put it on here's the stack of this, and here's the stack of that, and here's the stack of the other, and then it starts getting thicker. And usually several times a year, I'll just pull that folder, even if it's in a file drawer, pull it out and say, okay, now what do I need and what don't I need? If you haven't touched it in a year, you probably don't need it. So organize your files and reduce the amount of paper that you keep track of. That brings up several things. One of the papers you can do away with now is receipts. The IRS will now take electronic receipts, so you don't have to keep all those little strips that get folded up and tucked in things and lost and whatnot. So make electronic copies of them so that you can keep them. Also, instead of you keeping track of everything, let somebody else keep track of it. We have this wonderful thing out there called the cloud. Now, we had a hard drive machine that would supposedly back up and save everything automatically, and we relied on it heavily until we found out it had died about 3 months prior, and it wasn't backing up anything. It was still sitting there. The lights were working, but it wasn't doing it. And so we had to rebuild some things. Well, the cloud, it automatically will send it up there and it hangs onto it. And so a lot of that you can just get rid of. You don't have to worry about saving things. You don't have to take up the space with it or buy equipment. It's relatively inexpensive to store things in the cloud. So we encourage folks to do that. Another thing, your emails. What's your inbox look like?
Oh, it's awful.
Why?
Because I save everything.
Why?
I don't know. A habit. It's hard to break old habits.
Hey, here's a thought. No, why would you save an incoming email that you responded to?
I don't know. I just seemed like maybe a reference of going back to it if I ever needed to.
Well, guess what? It's being stored two places. Because if you responded to it,
That's true.
So
sent.
if it was important enough to answer, keep it in your sent file, get rid of your in file, because you don't need that. And if you didn't do anything with it, then you sure don't need to keep it.
That's
Absolutely.
true. That's true. I really need to clean out my inbox. There's like 800 emails in there.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I know. It's bad.
And the same with your voicemail. Think about that. I called somebody this morning and said, sorry, the mailbox is full. So what good is it
Exactly.
Right.
if it hasn't been cleaned out? And remember, anytime you send something, again, you're sending it in a response to it, and so it's down below your response. And what's more important probably is what you responded is not what they sent you,
Probably.
because they're asking for something, information, and you've given them that data or that answer. So clean out. And the junk box, the junk mail,
Yes. No, that's 0.
you got that one zeroed out?
I got that one
Okay.
zeroed.
Okay. Well, I'm having to change my email address because I've been, who knows where, everybody's gotten the emails, and I'm just, I get everything there about my, every vital aspect of my health I get some reference to, and buy this and buy that, and I'm having to change my email because, and every once in a while you might have to do that
Right.
because it catches up with you.
Definitely.
So take care of all that email stuff. Get a good note-taking package or whatever you want, tool that works for you. Some like to make notes on their cell phones. Some record them. Here's my favorite right here.
Me too.
Sticky notes
Love
or
me some
Post-it
Post-it
notes.
notes.
They're great. And I've got them all organized on my desk. Right now there's about 6 of them. And then when I'm done with them, I just toss them away.
Exactly.
And it's easy to carry. You can carry a pad in your pocket or put it in your car or wherever. And but have some sort of note-taking device. Because I find the older I get, the more difficult it is to make a mental note. There's not much left to write on anymore. So I need to write things down. So have a note-taking device. Another thing is check out your profiles on social media. We find every once in a while somebody sticks something that's inappropriate. They post it to the chamber. We just had that happen over the weekend. Somebody started posting political things. Well, we don't do political things.
Right.
And they were not always the best. So we had to take them, we took it down. So you want to be sure you're keeping track and you're purging that when it's inappropriate or when it just doesn't fit with what your goal is. And keep your profile up to date, whatever. Another thing is meet with your tax advisor. Now, some of you just did. But that was for 13. The question is, did you really sit down with them and wait? You didn't wait till April 15th at 3 o'clock to go see them. You actually took time ahead and talked about things that were to your advantage in your business tax-wise. But right now, or within the next few weeks, they might be a little more open to being able to take some time with you too and say, okay, here's what you need to do for this next year. Here's the best place to put this. You might want to consider this other means of being incorporated or anything else. So take advantage of your tax advisor. And certainly, very important, be sure you take charge of your books. You need to know where you stand. You need to know the invoicing process, the accounts payable, the accounts receivable, your balance sheet, your checking balance. You need to know all of those things. So you need to be sure that you are organized and have a good method of keeping track of your books. And then lastly, touch base with an attorney and see if there's any legal things that you might need to do, any licenses you may need to keep up to date on, any changes in laws regarding your style of incorporation. Maybe there's an advantage to a different style of incorporation. Maybe there are things like insurances you need to be sure you have. So talk with those big three, your tax person, your lawyer, your legal person, and your insurance person to make sure that those are all up to date and working to your advantage. We had a big expo last week. Thanks for being there, and I'm sure
course.
you've shown it a lot,
Yes.
and we're pleased with that. But I sat down because my insurance person was there, and I said, hey, anything I need to know? And she says, well, let's get together and we'll sit down and we'll talk about it to make sure I'm getting advantage of new products that are out there. For instance, the company that I have insurance with right now, they have a new product that's now available in North Carolina that hadn't been. It was accident forgiveness or something like that, which means that that first accident, it doesn't hit your premiums. Well, it used to. So she's saying, hey, that's a new thing you need to know about. You need to know about, have you insured your property appropriately with the appraised value and things like that, and versus market value. So it's important to check with those folks. But back to the expo, we had 83 businesses.
It's wonderful.
Last year, 47. This year, 83.
Wow.
And everybody says, well, what do you attribute that to? Well, I attribute that to several things. I attribute it probably first and foremost to the team. Barbara Armstrong and Wisteria White, what a great job they did in organizing that and getting new people to come. We already have pre-registration of about 25 folks for next year.
That's great.
That's a new thing that we did this year. And it's a good thing we're doing it because there's going to be, we can't take more than about that 83. That's 83, maybe 85. That's about all we can even put in the mall. So advanced sales, if you wish, for that are going to be very important. But the ladies did a wonderful job with that. Second, a reason was we marketed it a little bit more. We did a lot here on the television. We did on radio. We have signs around. And we've had such huge business after hours that the word has gotten out and our use of social media. That's primarily thanks to Wisteria. She's the one that handles social media for us. And tacking us on, that's not the right word. You don't tack on to somebody. You post on to you what tag, whatever it is, to different social networks that spread the word further. However, I think, and then just being spring, I think helps.
Definitely.
Yes.
Is a gorgeous day.
It is.
It was.
It
And
is.
it is today.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful Thursday too.
But I think there's also a pent-up desire to see things better. I think there's an attitude change that's taking place. I was thrilled to see that last month they sold 100 homes. That's the second time since 2008 that we sold 100 homes in a month. David was just here. The construction trades, they're keeping fairly busy with remodels. We need to see some new things come online. Most of those sales were resales of existing property, but you've got to, the inventory has to come out before you order new stuff. That's true no matter if it's construction or if it's something else. You have, when inventory is there, that's what you take care of first. So I think there's just a lot of factors together that kind of really made our expo kind of tick up this year. We got a lot of things coming too. One of the things we passed out was a whole sheet of upcoming events between now and late summer. Our next business after hours will be next Tuesday, the 13th at Footsloggers. So we're expecting a big crowd there. I will not be climbing the wall. But Footsloggers, and then in June we'll be at the Humane Society. And then in July, we'll be at University Nissan. And then in August, we'll be at Primo's in the mall. And we'll also be having the graduation of the Watauga Leadership Challenge at that particular one. We've got two great workshops coming up. One coming up on June 5th, which is a customer service seminar. Russ Siegel will be our speaker. We're probably going to be doing it over at the Samaritan's Purse Training Center in Blowing Rock. So people will be hearing more about that. And then on June 24th, we have another workshop called Cash is King. And we're looking forward to that. This is for the small business who really needs to understand cash flow, cash management, etc. We're going to be having a Wake Up Watauga on July 1st. It will be at the Athletic Center, and that will be the kickoff of the new Sunbelt Conference, ASU new Sunbelt Conference. So that's an exciting thing coming up. And then, of course, our annual meeting is in August, be at Tweetsie Railroad again. So we'll be looking forward to a lot of good times in the future. These are wonderful opportunities for our membership to meet with each other, interact with each other, network, do business-to-business type of conversations. And so we're real excited about what's coming up down the pike. So if you want to get to these, then what you need to do is organize your office so that you remember where you put this. Stick it on the wall. I don't know where you put it. Put it in your calendar, on your Outlook calendar. Put it on your phone calendar, whatever. And then plan on attending these opportunities that are out there in the future. So.
Absolutely. Well, some very good information. I think a lot of people are going to be cleaning up their offices a little bit this afternoon. But thank you so much for coming in to talk with us.
Always a pleasure.
Of course. And we will look forward to seeing you next Monday. And we will see you all right back here after these messages.